Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today we're actually going to be looking at my most used or like frequently used or my favorite art supplies in this video, and all the supplies that I'm going to be talking about will be supplies that I've used in previous videos. There's nothing going to be new introduced, and I'm not going to be introducing every material that I've ever used. I think in previous videos I literally listed like absolutely everything, like every type of paper and stuff, but I'm only going to focus on the supplies that you see me working with in previous videos. So I'm going to try my best to keep this as concise as possible, as this is I think my third attempt trying to film this. So basically we're going to go through sketchbook supplies, so any of the supplies and materials I use in my sketchbooks, and then we'll move to painting supplies, and then we'll move to digital. So digital will include Procreate, the programs I use on my computer, as well as the tablet, and like all of that. So if anything and everything you need to know about all the supplies in my videos will be here, but as usual in my videos I will always have a little flag in this corner, I believe, listing the material that I'm always using. So if that's something you're interested in instead of this video, then you can just click off and just watch any video that I'm using materials that you might be interested in. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, I will cut that out, but let's start. And let's get started with the sketchbook. So sketchbook always changes about every 4 to 6 months, because that's tends to be the time frame that I change sketchbooks because I finish them. So if you have a specific sketchbook you're interested in, please just check the sketchbook tours or specific sketchbook doodle pages and you'll find out what sketchbook I'm using. So the sketchbook is a artist sketchbook, I guess. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's made by C Points on Twitter and Instagram, and she has her own custom sketchbook designs and stuff. And I have the A5 version, and this is one of my most frequently used kind of sketchbooks, these pleather bound A5 with, I think it's 180 GSM paper, but yeah. So as for materials that I use in my sketchbook, a lot of them are in my pencil case, which is this pencil case and also this pencil case. So I mostly carry this one around, and in here, as you can see, is my BIC Mechanical Pencil. So this is literally what I use only for my graphite pieces. That's about it. Next, we have the Pilot Color Eno mechanical pencils. They come in a bunch of different colors. But I like using red the most. As long as you have a 0.7 barrel or mechanical pencil that can accept lead, you can just buy the kind of little refills and stuff and just use that with your mechanical pencil. So yeah, I use this for all my sketching, for paintings, pencil crayons. It's basically my undersketch and my rough sketch stuff. So yeah. After that, liners. So pens that I frequently use to do line art on top of any of my drawings. I recently been using my Staedtler Liquid Point 7. So this is the pen that I use the most throughout several sketchbooks now. And because they're not waterproof, I do have to do the inking on top of everything, which is my preferred method now. So yep, this is what I use. Another tool that I use for inking is my fountain pen. So this is the Pilot Kakuno fountain pen, and this is the one that is fine. I really like using this. It's similar to this in a sense, but just a bit of a different feeling. But the ink in here is like semi-permanent, so it still bleeds. Other pens that I've used in the past is Uniball Vision Needle, and I have a black one and a red one like of these, and these are really nice, but they're a little bit thicker. But they're also waterproof, so you can use them for watercolor doodles and stuff as long as you let the ink dry enough. As for erasers, as you know, I don't really use white erasers that often. I usually use these. So I use Kneaded Erasers. These ones are both really filthy. But I have a lot of these Kneaded Erasers. I go through a lot, but I just have a lot like laying around, so yeah. They're perfect for picking up graphite, cleaning up the messes of your white eraser. So like I make it pick up the eraser shavings as well, and kind of just like meld it into here. I use it to basically any of my pencils that I use pretty much have kneaded erasers on the end. Is this my preferred method? I usually sketch pretty light, so if I need to change anything, it's usually during the light sketching phase. And if I do need to heavily erase anything, I do have these retractable erasers. I've been using this since junior high, so I have like 3 of these. And this is the white eraser that's retractable. The eraser is kind of like a good hardness that it erases stuff quite nicely, but the eraser shavings aren't like gross. But yeah, I think this is a Korean brand, as this says Pocket 6.8 eraser, You and Me Corp.Korea. 2 other sketching supplies that I use is the Prismacolor Colerase pencils. So I have the one in blue and the one in red. Initially I didn't like using these, but recently I've liked using these a little bit more in the smoother sketchbooks. Other sketching supplies, as you guys know, I used to use, and I still quite often use these. I might have to do more videos with them because I feel like I haven't used them in a while, is the Crayola Super tips. So they're washable markers. I think a lot of you guys have already seen these. They're basically like kids markers or whatever. But I really like it. There's a whole variety of markers here, so you can definitely use them to accent your drawings or do any kind of colors for your sketches and stuff. It's just really nice to have a bunch of water-based markers. You can also dilute them with water and spread them around. I think it's just fun to use them. Not everyone's favorite, but I do enjoy using these. Okay, so this is where I keep all my pencil crayons that are my Prismacolor Premiers, and these are what I primarily use only for my pencil crayon drawings. I sometimes use the Very Thins as well. I do have Scholars as well, but I primarily use only the Prismacolor Premiers. Okay, next we're going to look at my painting supplies. So we'll start with watercolors first, starting with my Watercolor Journal. So this is my current watercolor journal, and it's the A4 sized hardbound, I think it's the Strathmore 400 series watercolor journal. Yeah. The paper is the 300 GSM cold press paper. There's like a rough side, and then there's like a smooth side. So this is the journal I've been using. Another thing I use is the Strathmore, I think it's still the 400 series. It might be the 500 series. I'll look it up and I'll show you guys. But it's the Ready Cut 5x7 watercolor paper. So I do these for my chibis, and you've probably seen a couple of videos with these. I did a bunch of D8 fashion kind of drawings for the zine. But yeah. I'll make sure to put everything in a text thing so you guys will know what is what, but this is something I really like using as well. I like the texture of it, and it's really easy to just pull out and use, especially for like commission work or little illustrations like this. Okay, so palette and paint. This is probably one of the most frequently asked questions, is what is my palette composed of? I believe this palette itself, like the physical plastic palette itself, is the ProArt, I think. And I think I have the large version. I don't remember how many wells it has. It may have had like 28, 24 or something like that. But this is my palette. So this is just based off of memory. I will put a thing of text, I think. We'll see how lazy I am with it. If not, I'm going to include this part of the video, and I'm just going to quickly name them off. So my whole palette is comprised of Holbein's, M. Graham & Co., Grumbacher Academy, and I think I have one Winsor & Newton Cotman series in this palette. So I have 4 different paint brands in here, but my primary set in here is Holbein, which is this. So this is the Holbein paints, and these are the tube sizes, and as you can see, the tubes aren't very big. They're extremely small, but they last quite a while, and I do have one refill, which is the Mineral Violet, because that's what I use the most. Some of the paints I did buy in Japan, just because it was more convenient. So I'll quickly do a run through of what the colors are here. Okay, so now let's talk about brushes. So in my palette, as you can see, it can hold my 3 brushes that I use frequently. Obviously this is like kind of like my holy grail brush at the moment. It used to be this brush, but the Raphael Kolinsky No. 6 brown brush is the brush that I primarily use for all my paintings. It has a nice like kind of mop like really soft bristle brush, but when you get enough water on it and enough paint on it, it comes to a really sharp point, which you can do a lot of the line art or line work or detail work. As you guys probably seen in my videos, I usually don't switch brushes. Before I used to use this grip brush, which is from Artist Loft, and it's the No. 8. I used to use this in the same way I used to use that, but because of how much water it can hold, it's definitely a little bit of a different experience painting with it. And then I have the No. 12 from Artist Loft, and it's just for larger washes if I want to do a little bit more of a larger painting. So that is my whole palette right here, as you can see. And I'll say it again, this palette I believe is from ProArt, and I got it from Amazon like a while ago. I have 2 of these, but yeah. I do have a bunch of other brushes in this case that I made myself, so I just used, I think it's vinyl. I took a hair straightener and sealed the edges, popped on a zipper, and then we have a giant case that has all my brushes in it, and the binder clip. But yeah, I used to do a lot of painting back in university, so I had a variety of different brushes so I could use them for larger paintings. But I'm not going to go over this just because I don't use any of these as much anymore. It's just for like future projects. If I do need to use them, I still have them, but primarily use only that other set that I have in my palette. So this is my gouache palette. I also got this case from Amazon. So it's just a matte blue palette, and when you open it up, as you can see, there's 3 wells right here, or mixing palettes right there, and it opens up again like this, and we have 2 more spaces for mixing your colors. As you can see, this is how I decided to sort my gouache set. I have a few brushes in here which I actually don't use very often, but it's more convenient to have these brushes inside this tiny little palette. So these are brushes that fit in here. I do use the round occasionally. I do have a filbert in here, but these are just random assortment of brushes that I got from Amazon. I believe there's no brand on these. You can find, I think, a pack of, is it like 10 or 15 of these kinds of brushes for like $5 or something on Amazon. And I used to use these a lot when I used to be painting with watercolors when I first started out, because I used to paint really small. But the brushes that I use usually for watercolors, I don't use for gouache. So for gouache, I use, let's see, I think I use these ones. I have a Brea Reese, which I'm not sure if it's a Canadian brand or something, but I bought it at Walmart. But it's just a No. 8 round, has a nice tip. I have Simply Simmons round brush, and it's size 10, so this is for larger areas. And more recently, I've been using the size 8 brush from the same brush brand as whatever these blue ones are, but it's just a larger filbert kind of brush, which is kind of nice. But I think that's it. I think that's all I use for gouache. As for paper, I either use the watercolor paper that I do have, or I use, I think previously I used the Arteza sketchbook for the gouache paintings that you've seen previously. It just has a nice thick paper that nicely absorbs the water. So yeah, that's about it. The gouache in this palette is the Arteza gouache. I don't know what this is called, tray thing, this little container, which was actually, it came with this palette. So it's actually removable, but I believe I glued it down just because I don't want it to shift around in my palette. But I use it for my pure whites because, as you can see, my 2 whites, like my titanium white and my zinc white, are very much contaminated. Now, I believe that is all for my traditional medium. I think the only thing I haven't talked about, technically, it might be this. So this is my titanium white gouache, and this is kind of like my holy grail in terms of adding white highlights to paintings, or I guess just mostly paintings. I guess you could use it for other things if you wanted to, but it's just the titanium white gouache, or titanium white, permanent white gouache from M. Graham & Co. Yeah, it's just my favorite to use, and this is a really big tube, and I've had this for 4 years, 4 or 5 years now. I think it's 4 years now since I've done watercolors, and this has worked out the best for myself. And as you can see, I'm not even close to finishing this tube. Yeah, just my favorite gouache. Okay, so I think that covers everything for my traditional medium. If I forgot anything, please just comment it and I will do my best to list it down below and just write it out and stuff. And if you have any questions, please sift through the comments as best to your ability to look for any questions that I have answered before asking. For digital, I use my laptop, which is my Dell Inspiron, I think. I don't know which one it is, but it's like the 15.5 inch laptop, and it has like the iCore like 5 processor or something like that. I'm not too sure. In terms of program, I use Paint Tool SAI, so you guys should know what Paint Tool SAI is. If not, just look it up. But yeah, it's more affordable compared to like subscription based or like Clip Studio Paint, which I also have. But yeah, Paint Tool SAI I definitely recommend. As you can see, this is the tablet. So the tablet I use is the Wacon Intuos Pro in the size small. This is my second tablet. My first tablet was just a Wacon bamboo tablet in the size small. There was like the red tag and it's really tiny. I'll find a picture of it, but it was like only $70. This one's definitely more expensive, but it's lasted me a good while. So this is primarily what I use for digital art, so like and my animations or anything I've done digitally pretty much is done on this. And then the second thing that I've done digital art on is my tablet, so I'll go grab that, which is my iPad. I mean my tablet as in my iPad. Okay, so this is my tablet, so this is my iPad. I guess I should stop calling it a tablet. This is my iPad. I have the 10.2 or whatever the cheapest was on the Apple Store. I'm pretty sure it's a 10.2. I have this case from Amazon, which is this nice like cloth case with like a band on it. It has a pocket in the front. After that, it has kind of like these card slots and then these 2 ridges, which is nice because you can prop up your tablet onto one ridge or on the second ridge, and this helps with your drawing. As you can see, this is the tablet screen. I do have the rose gold version, and the what is it called? Screen protector I have on my tablet is the Paperlike screen protector. A lot of people are saying you can just get any kind of matte screen protector, but I do like the one from Paperlike. It's the only one I've tried, but I have nothing bad to say about it. So yeah, I have the Gen 1 Apple Pencil with a little bit of a different accessory on it. As you can see, I have the thing so it keeps the cap, you know, attached to your pencil so you don't lose it. Okay, so on my iPad, I have Procreate on here, as you can see, or can't see. The lighting looks really bad. But this is Procreate. As you can see, I have a lot of drawings in here that are stuck in folders. But yeah, okay, so let's talk about drawing materials and tools on here. I guess not materials, tools. So for my ink wash and sketching tools, as you can see, something like this, or previously in my ASMR videos, I did a lot of like monochromatic work. So in the brush settings, I have something called, where is it? Sprout Sketch. And this is the one you guys were very like adamant about seeing. So this is Sprout Sketch, and basically it's literally just the Narinder Pencil. And I believe I might have changed something. I'm not too sure. I think if you change a setting, it might change the who created the brush. I'm not too sure. If it does, then this pencil isn't changed. Then if that's the case. So yeah, this is the Narinder Pencil. I just named it the Sprout Sketch because it's easier for me to identify. But yeah, it has this really nice like pencil-like texture. I just really like it. But that's what I used for the sketch portion of these Wanu doodles. And then as you can see, there's like wet washes on top. So I have several different brushes, but the one I use the most I have listed as Wet 1, just because it's a duplicate of another brush. And this brush is made by, I'm not even gonna attempt to say it, but it's made by this person. It's the most comfortable brush I've used that does like a watercolor effect. As you can see, I have a lot listed here. I have these watercolor brushes. I also have these watercolor brushes, and I haven't done a lot of testing, so I'm gonna try these a little bit later. But the ones by him or they or them is probably my favorite set of watercolor brushes. I use the wet brush primarily. So backing out, let's say I've done a lot of like Wonu sketches. I've been doing a lot of different kind of like digital painting on here. Digital painting on the iPad is my preferred way of digital painting now. It's just a lot more tactile and I like it. The brushes are really nice. So we're going to talk about the painting brushes I use. I use pretty much 2 brushes in here. So I have something called Sprout is my folder name, and this just has all my brushes that I frequently use. So Sharp Render 1 and Paint. So Paint is actually, okay, so Paint and Sharp Render are from Jing Sketches is brush packs, which has 4 brush packs right here. I haven't really used soft or smudge. Actually, I use soft on my airbrushes, but I don't use smudge. They look like they have really nice textures, but I just don't use the smudge tool in general. But soft I use for one of my airbrushes. In the paint, as you can see in his brush set, he has something called, I think it's Flat Painting Stream. It might be this one, but I've changed the shape. If I click on it, you can change the shape. As you can see, it has this rectangular blob shape. I changed the shape to, if I go into import, and you go import to source library, I believe I pick medium hard for the shape, and that is what my, I think, let's see, that is what my paint with the clover on it is made up of. So I just adjusted it. I believe I might have changed the streamline a bit too. And then we have Sharp Render 1, which is also from Jing Sketches, which is from his Sharp Render. Nothing has changed on the Sharp Render except for, nope, yeah, nothing has changed at all for this brush. For flat painting, stream, I don't know why I have 2 of these. So for flat painting stream, as you can see, the opacity is quite low. I think for my painting brush, I did bump it up to the highest setting for the opacity, just because I like it to be flat. So I use flat painting, or like my paintbrush, the one with clover, I use it for, if I show you guys right here, for this part. So when I lay down the first layer of color up until, let's see, probably up until here is where I'm only using one brush. The rest of the painting, as you can see, when I'm like refining stuff, I'm adding stuff like highlights, color, shadow, lines, and everything else is done with the Sharp Render. As you can see, I paint on one layer for the most part, and then I do background stuff on the another layer. But yeah, Sharp Render is what I use the most for digitally painting, and it's my favorite method. It's just really nice. I really like the look of it. But yeah, let's talk about sketching. So let's see. So this is my sketch brush. As you can see, it's not made by anybody. I had to make it myself, and I believe I used let's see, I might have used Jing Sketches as the base, and it might be the sketch round. If not, I've used to use the technical pencil the most. Technical pencil is what I use the most. If not, it's from Jing Sketches, and Jing Sketches you do have to pay for, but I think you do get a lot from what you pay for, especially if you want to use the iPad for more of your main digital medium. I definitely recommend it. But I believe in the sketch round, if you change few settings like streamline, I usually change, in the Apple Pencil I usually change sizing, I change the tilt if it has any tilt. Yeah, I mentioned this before, I definitely recommend if you are looking to find new brushes for Procreate. Look for the free brushes that they have on their Procreate website and stuff, and see what you can deal with on there. Take the brushes, tweak them as what you like, and figure it out. Because there's a bunch of videos out there that talk about what each setting does for each brush. You need to test out the brush for you to know if the brush is going to work out for you. Just because you see another person using a specific kind of brush doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Another person added that about like the screen protector, some people say like the screen protector isn't good for your Apple Pencil, and it's true. But it still depends on your workflow and how you use your materials. So, and there's a setting in Procreate under preferences. So there's something called, let's see which one it is, edit pressure curve. And you can edit the pressure curve to pretend you're really heavy-handed. Maybe you need to dial back on the pressure curve so that when you make light lines, it will appear darker. Or if you are really heavy-handed, or not heavy-handed, if maybe you're light-handed and you want to produce darker lines without having to put so much pressure down, you can change the pressure curve so that, you know, light lines will register as like pretty dark. You need to find the right settings for it so that you're not like scratching at your screen. I've had my screen protector and my iPad for about 6 months. I bought it in January, so yeah. So far I haven't had to change the tip. I don't see like major differences on the tablet itself with the screen protector. Just a heads up, if you are using a matte screen protector, I believe it does dull the colors down a little bit more, but as you can see, it has like this nice frosted instead of that really reflective quality, which I really like. But yeah, I think that's about it. Hopefully that answers everyone's questions. For doodles like this, I always use just one pencil, so I think here I was using my sketch brush. And if I was using the sketch brush, I also used it for color. I just bump up the size of the brush to do the coloring and stuff. So yeah, I think that's about it. I think literally that's all the materials and stuff that I use for drawing. So hopefully that helped out some people and made some sense. But I'll try to make sure I list absolutely as much as I can in the description. And hopefully this is somewhat beneficial for you guys. But yeah, it's probably a super long video, so I'm just gonna end the video now and just leave. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!